You were talking about finding your identity in golf, playing golf where Albert Lee was hitting it in the bunker on purpose. You were hitting it. I mean, you talk about these dogleg rights, and you're hitting it in like 2 fairways down to the right to play and take the shortcut. And it was like, find your identity in golf, your game. Like, you got to play your game, not try to play anyone else's game. I love that. I love that message. And then number 2 is there's no shortcuts. Like, you have to work harder than the person next to you. Where you playing on tour, it's like you gotta make a living, right? You gotta keep your card. So how do you do this though? So I'm gonna ask you a real question, where when you're day in and day out and it's a grind, golf is not easy, right? It's not a game of perfect. And we tried to perfect it. We tried to work every single day, put hours into it, but it still doesn't go our way. Like, how do you find the motivation to keep going when you're struggling a little bit, or it's not going the way that you want it to go? Like, where does that motivation come from for you?
That's a great question. And so, I've been thinking about this one, and I'm currently struggling with that myself right now. Yeah. And so for me to answer that question, it's really deep, right? And so It's a question for someone starting off, someone who's 5-10 years into golf, someone's in high school, college, professional. Even at my level, like, we struggle with these things on a yearly, weekly basis, right? And so golf is an individual sport. You're the only one that's hitting the ball. You're the only one that's practicing and putting in the work. And it's a very individual, solitude life that we live, right? Of golf. And so any other sport that we have, that's a team sport, baseball, basketball, football, there's a support system, right? If you are an NFL player and you drop a pass, you're a wide receiver and you drop a pass, right? You go to the bench and you feel like you just let your whole team down.
Yeah.
What they don't show is the quarterback saying, hey, keep your head up. I'm going to throw it to you again, and you're going to catch it, and I believe in you. You don't see the linebacker. You don't see the running back saying, hey, don't worry about that. Shake it off. There's another play. We're going to win this game, right? And so for me, in this phase of my life, I feel like the best way to answer that is you really have to find a good support system that can pick you up when you're down. And we're not talking about cheerleaders. We're talking about the guys that know you the best, that are your closest friends. It could even be guys you compete against. It can be your mom, your dad, your coach. It can be anyone that can basically give you 5-10 minutes, even an hour of just personal one-on-one time and saying, hey, look, what are some of the things that you're dealing with? And to basically the whole experience of verbalizing what you're going through is a huge relief. And we're in a phase that everyone's talking about mental health, right? Sure. And the biggest problem with mental health is that there are very few people that are willing to listen. And I feel like just to be able to find someone who can listen to you, we're not talking about the guy who's telling you what to do, and you say 10 words and he's giving you an hour of a speech of what you need to do, what's good in your life and what's wrong in your life. We're talking about the person that is asking you questions and wants to hear you talk about your experiences and what you're going through. And I feel like just saying that, that in itself, if you can find someone like that, you hold on to that person for the rest of your life, and you find as many people as you can that's going to encourage you, give you confidence, and to basically, after you talk with this person, you come out of it feeling like you can do anything, right? I'm sure there's people in this chat room that have gone to a conference or some kind of motivational speaking session, or even talk to someone that was like, man, you just feel so energized, you feel like you're ready to conquer the world. Like Matt, when we had talked earlier today, right? You were talking about how you're doing this podcast, and I'm like, God, I feel so energized. You make me want to do my own podcast, right? You got to find people like that can really help you throughout your career. Because I tell you what, golf is exactly what it is. You know, you have good scores and you have bad scores. Mm-hmm. And hopefully you have more good scores than bad scores, but the reality of it is that they all weigh out the same, right? And so you're going to go through peaks and valleys in your year, in your season, but also think about your entire golfing career, right? And so if I can put myself in your guys' shoes, right? Look through here, I see kids. I'm sorry to call you kids. I'm 41 years old. I think I earned that right. But I see kids that are 10, 12 years old in this chat room, and I'm 41, right? And to think that what happens on the golf course to you today, and for you to exaggerate it and say, this is the worst day of my life. Oh my gosh, I'm going to be straight up with you guys. Get over it. Because you're going to be golfing for the next 30 years. You're going to be my age, still golfing, and have over 2,000 rounds under your belt. Yeah. And so the quicker you can get over your bad rounds, you can start enjoying your good rounds.